Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast, but today you're not hearing the beautiful voice of Seth Greene. I'm Peter Murphy-Lewis, known for working at Strategic Pete, a documentarian and storyteller obsessed with uncovering what makes entrepreneurs like Seth tick. Seth's out there revolutionizing business growth, dropping nearly 2,000 YouTube videos as of today's recording, earning a rare triple nomination for Marketer of the Year by Dan Kennedy, and even selling his house on Facebook with ninja marketing tactics. Is that true, Seth?
That is true. I did, when my wife and I were moving from our first house to the house we have now, I blew the realtor's mind by using some cutting edge, at the time, Facebook marketing strategies that she had certainly never even heard of, that caused literally a line out the door for our open house and a bidding war.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to get into a couple different topics that I know that you're known for, but you are normally the person on the other side of the mic. You're a quiet person who interviews a lot of people, but don't get to talk about yourself as often as I think. So I want to go into something that's interesting to me. So when I got the most referrals in my life, it was the moment when I stopped chasing them, because every time I asked, it felt like I was forcing something that should have come naturally. But Seth, you built a system around this idea, a method where the referrals show up without you having to ask. Where did this counterintuitive philosophy come from that asking less actually gets you more, Seth?
So that came from a combination of my work with Dan Kennedy and Chet Holmes and my own frustration with trying to get more business and get more referrals and get heard and seen in a crowded marketplace. And it was inspiration and instruction from Dan, inspiration from Napoleon Hill and Chet Holmes and many other marketing luminaries along the way that I've had the good fortune to learn from and get to work with and serve. That informed the no-ask referral system that is one of our flagship services, and what got me nominated for Marketer of the Year 3 years in a row, as you alluded to.
Love it. As a person who talks to a lot of experts, my favorite thing is to ask not about the shiny formula that they already have. It's about the moment when they tell you when everything went wrong. Seth, when did your own system fail you? And what changed in you after that?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I would say system failed. We were my wife and I were shopping for our second house, and I had been in consultations with a very large regional personal injury law firm for marketing. They had said they were going to hire us. It was a multi-6-figure deal with 7-figure performance incentives, including free rent in their new office building. So dream client is going to represent half our business, take us to a whole new level. So I told my wife to shop for a house in that price range. And she was trying to make offers, and she was kept getting outbid. And, hey, what's going on? Why are you telling me to wait? Why aren't you telling me to go ahead? I said, I'm working on it. And literally a month had gone by after he said, send me the contract on Monday, and I'll sign it and get you the check. And he hadn't. So I canceled all my meetings one day, camped out in his lobby, and told the receptionist, I don't have an appointment, but I'm not leaving until I get 5 minutes. I will sit here. I brought a book. I'll sit here all day. She went back, came back 5 minutes later and said, he changed his mind. Sorry, he's not doing it. Doesn't want to talk. And I had to tell my wife, come meet me at home. I'm coming home for the day. I'm done. I need a drink. And I had to tell her, you got to shop for a house in a normal price range, not in the price range. The extra couple $100,000 was because this guy was writing us a check and he didn't. And I am so sorry. And that's why I've been holding off. And now you know where you need to shop for a house, which is not the price range that she wanted. So and I had hired people in advance to do the work that he was going to need because I believed him. Mm-hmm. So that was a very painful day. We have come to view it as a blessing because he would have been half our client base. He would have been our landlord. Had anything ever gone wrong, we would have been screwed. And we would have stopped prospecting and marketing probably for a while to fulfill his service. So we would have had half our business in one client, which I should have been an alarm bell, red flag, would have been way too unstable. So it took a little while to get over that and make up for the revenue we didn't have coming in. But we have since learned it to be a blessing and to not allow one person or one company to be such a big part of our business that they could cause us very large amounts of stress.
Oof, painful. The first time I saw one of your tricks, I didn't think magic. I thought this guy understands human attention better than most psychologists I've met. Seth, how did you go from performing magic to turning it into a way to build trust in your business?
Well, first, thank you for the kind words. So magic ultimately led me to performing on stage, which led me to wanting to be a Broadway star. And then that eventually segued into the world of human behavior, psychology, and marketing, because I became a financial advisor and was frustrated with my branch manager who said, make 300 cold calls a day, interrupting strangers, and ask for money, and you'll build a business if you can survive for 5 years. So that's the short story of a long journey, which took me from wanting to entertain people to wanting to ultimately entertain, educate, and inspire them to do whatever it is that our clients want them to do with their company.
I'm going to go into another unknown area of your personal life. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
In business, a lot of CEOs think leadership means striking first or having all of the answers. But every time I speak with someone who trains in martial arts, I hear something deeper. The real strength is not about reacting. It's about absorbing, redirecting, waiting for the right moment. Seth, how did martial arts teach you that? And how do you apply that mindset with your team or in a boardroom?
No one has ever asked me that question. That's an awesome question. So I just earned my 3rd degree black belt in Krav Maga a couple of weeks ago. And how has martial arts affected me? Well, so all of my sparring partners will tell you that I am more of a counterpuncher than anything else. As you alluded to, I am waiting for them to leave an opening or make a mistake that I take advantage of in a fight. So in terms of leadership, I don't think it's not strike first. Krav is self-defense. Part of our mantra every morning is we will never be abusive or offensive. So our goal is only to use it for self-defense. And I think as leaders, it's important to listen first before acting. And it's taken me a while to learn that and say, hear them out, ask them questions first. And then something I've been working on lately is not offering a solution and trying to empower them and say, well, how do you think we should handle this? As opposed to just going, do X, Y, and Z and go away.
I want to transition into your content. You had me on your podcast about 6 months ago, so I want to talk about how you use it. Question is, most people think a podcast is just content, but you use it to build relationships, to generate real opportunity without selling. How do you turn a simple interview into a trust-based funnel?
I think podcasting is the greatest networking tool and relationship building tool ever invented. Thanks to the internet and Zoom and Wi-Fi and COVID, everybody being used to it now, I can interview anyone, anywhere in the world. And I think it's a great way to get to know someone, asking them questions for 20, 30 minutes. And it's a great way to start a relationship because everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Everybody's favorite topic to talk about is themselves. I have had conversations on airplanes that were hours long and people said, wow, you're the best conversationalist I've ever talked to, or I like talking to you more than anybody else. And I say, all I did was ask you a couple questions and you talk the rest of the time. So I don't know how that's a conversation, but if you label it that, I'll take it.
tried making content, and let me tell you, staying consistent is brutal. But you, Seth, are almost at 2,000 YouTube videos. 2,000. That's not just commitment. That's a masterclass in showing up and delivering value day after day. Seth, what is your secret to creating that much content without burning out? And how do you make sure every video actually moves the needle for your business?
So how I create that much without burnout is just being really interested in the other person. It's not about me. If we're about me, if every video was all about me, I probably would have burned out by now. I think I'm interviewing or talking to someone different every single time. So, and it may be the first and only time I ever talk to them. So I want to make sure that they have a fabulous experience and that they leave happy that they were on camera with me.
All right, we're going to take you back in time, Seth. Imagine you could go back 10 years. You see your younger self, frustrated, chasing leads, pushing too hard. What would you say in one sentence to change everything with what you know now?
Slow down, have faith. It's going to be okay. Work on yourself first.
Love it. Seth, I appreciate you for letting me take over your podcast and hear a little bit more about you and flip the script. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for doing it.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.